How's it going, guys? It's Parallax Abstraction, and this is the Geek Bravado Ramble. Oh, man. This is going to be interesting. I actually recorded and edited and was just about to post an entire Geek Bravado on this subject, and then all the information got completely changed and altered, and it was all for naught. I love it when that happens. It is not the first time, but god damn it. And yeah, I'm a little bit extra cranky this morning. I didn't sleep very well last night, and yesterday I found out that I didn't get a job I interviewed for that I felt was a lock, so I'm a little pissed off, but, you know, such is how things go. But this is probably a good topic to be annoyed about, so let's talk about YouTube Red. So my original video that I did on this subject was basically the day after the YouTube Red was announced, and I had a bunch to say on that, but a whole bunch of other information has come out since then. So you probably know what YouTube Red is so far, but I'll give you a very, very quick rundown. It is YouTube's new paid service. Basically, it is their kind of sort of a version of Twitch Turbo, but for YouTube. So if you pay for that service, you get ad-free viewing, which is probably the biggest deal for most people. You get the ability to watch videos in the background on your mobile device, which is kind of funny because there are ways around that already using third-party apps. You get that. You get, what else is it? There's a bunch of, like, reality shows starring YouTube royalty, which all look like garbage to me because I hate reality programming of any kind. But you can get that stuff if you want. I don't care. What was the other thing? There was something else. Anyway. So there's some value adds there for people. And initially, this sounded pretty interesting to me because I am someone who hates ads but continue to use them because that is how YouTubers and other free content creators actually make their living. I have said before, and it's funny that this is a controversial opinion, but I have said before that I cannot stop you using ad block, but I think you're actively harming content creators by using ad block. Yeah, ads are annoying, but it's a very, very minor annoyance in order to get a whole bunch of free content that otherwise wouldn't exist without it. And to me, people who use ad block have just shown to me why things like piracy is really more of an entitlement problem than a service problem, because the cost of viewing a 45-minute YouTube ad by having to see a 30-second pre-roll ad in front of it is really no cost whatsoever. And that people want to block that and come up with all kinds of dumb reasons for why they need to. Well, I have a real problem with that. But it is what it is, right? You can decry it, you can not like it, but you can't stop it. Same thing with piracy. So I like the fact that YouTube is attempting to come up with an alternative way to combat the problem of ad block and things like that by basically saying, you know what, you want to support people, but you don't want to watch ads. Well, here's a way to do it. And originally I was thinking, you know what, this might be a good thing to sign up for. But now I'm really not so sure, and I'm really not so sure other people should either. I mean, for starters, as usual, this is not available in Canada until some time later because fucking reasons. I don't know what that is. We have Patreon in Canada, we have Netflix in Canada, we have a whole bunch of other stuff in Canada that uses a monthly fee. I don't know why they couldn't launch YouTube Red up here as well at the same time, but whatever. And as usual, I think YouTube, it is amazing to me that with a company with the resources and the PR might of Google, that they are so consistently horribly bad at announcing and talking about anything. So the problem is that Google dropped the YouTube Red announcement, and as usual, only the top 1% of YouTubers actually got to find out what the creator end of the thing was going to be before it dropped. Nobody knew what was going on. Their announcement didn't say anything. They didn't tell anyone. They didn't tell YouTubers. They didn't tell the networks even. Like I'm in Creator X, which is a subnetwork of Fullscreen, which is one of the biggest networks on YouTube. They didn't know what was going on. They were on Twitter going, we know you guys have questions. We're getting information. We're going to let you know everything that goes on. Just hang tight. And I'm like, you guys seriously weren't told anything about this? And it wasn't until just yesterday that it was finally clarified for Canadian full screen partners that we will still get the benefits of the creator and like the receiving end of YouTube Red subscriptions, even though we cannot sign up for them ourselves. So at least there's that, but it's ridiculous. Like, and there's still questions up in the air about how this thing is actually going to work. And there are a lot of YouTubers out there who make their living on YouTube who are kind of like, I don't know what's going on. But we have a decent number of details now, and yeah, so I don't make a living on YouTube. This is a hobby thing. To be honest with you, I don't think it's ever going to get big enough for me to make a living on it, and if it did, I don't know if I'd want to, because it's such a volatile business, especially now. More and more YouTubers are actually turning to things like Patreon and other forms of crowdfunding, or trying to diversify either on Twitch or other things like that in order to try to keep their income levels up, because ad rates are plummeting. Because guess what? A lot of people are using ad block, and advertisers are going, hey, we're paying for ads that a whole bunch of people aren't going to see. So yeah, ad rates are going down, and living off of ad revenue is not only not a lucrative thing unless you're huge, it's nigh impossible at this point. And that's becoming a problem for a lot of people. But of course, if you want to crowdfund to support yourself, again, you have to be of a decent size to do that. Like if I opened a Patreon, there are ideological issues I have with Patreon that I won't go into here, but I not only do not have a Patreon page for my own content, I don't use it at all. I don't have a Patreon account. But if you're not of a decent size, you won't get anything from that either. So the problem that I've had, and I've complained about this before, is that YouTube, the way it is structured at a systemic level, is very much a rich get richer system. There are people out there, like, I really like Total Biscuit, but one of the things he said that really irked me once was that he said YouTube is a pure meritocracy and that you're paid exactly what the market thinks you're worth. That's complete BS. YouTube is a very weighted system. Search rankings, the suggested watch videos, all those things are weighted towards what's already popular. It is undeniable. It is demonstrable. It is there. That's the way it works. The more popular you are, the more promotion you get, and therefore the bigger you get. Meanwhile, the little guys have to struggle to get noticed in any way whatsoever. It's been that way for a long time, and it continues to be. YouTube Red looked like to a degree that it was going to even the playing field, and I really like that, but it's turned out it's kind of BS. So there's two problems. One, Boogie2988 revealed this morning in a video that apparently YouTube Red, anyone who is on a YouTube Red trial account will not be contributing to the pool of money that gets distributed to YouTubers. So in other words, if people are viewing your content under a YouTube Red trial, you get nothing. They're not seeing the ads, and you're also not getting the cut of their YouTube Red subscription, which is complete bullshit. That benefits nobody whatsoever. Google can afford to take the financial hit of giving away YouTube Red free for 30 days. YouTubers can't. That's ridiculous. And this was a thing that Apple did when they announced, was it Apple Radio or iTunes something or other? The latest iTunes thing. There was a big Taylor Swift blog post of all things defaming it, basically saying that they wouldn't pay out to content creators during the trial period, and Apple reversed that. YouTube really should. They can afford to eat this. They shouldn't be making the YouTubers do it for them. So I don't like that, but that's a temporary problem, right? Because when someone's trial is over, there'll be a big influx of that in November, which is right before Christmas, which is really ridiculous. But that will normalize. It's not the end of the world. Here's the bigger problem. So Total Biscuit, one thing I like about him is that though he has no incentive or benefit to do so, he is very good about explaining, if you dig into his audio blogs and stuff, he is very good about explaining a lot of the behind the curtain kind of things that happens on YouTube. He's a big YouTuber, and he's one of the higher ups at Polaris, so he gets a lot of information that a lot of other people don't, and he's free about sharing that with everyone, which I always like that when he does that. But so what he did was he came out and said that it looked like the way YouTube Red was originally going to work was that it was how much you got paid from it was based on watch time. So he said what it looked like was going to happen is that if you have a YouTube Red subscriber who views videos from you and other people and everything else, that the way it was going to work is their subscription, like YouTube takes a chunk of their subscription right off the top, and then the rest would be into a pool on a per user basis that would be divvied up via watch time. So the more that user watched of your videos or someone else's videos, the bigger the piece of that pie that YouTube creator would get. This could be problematic if the guy or gal watches a lot of videos. Like if you watch a ton of YouTube content like I do, it's the same size pie, but technically it's getting divided into smaller and smaller slices the more content they watch. But it was still miles better on a per view basis than what ads pay. Like if somebody sees a 30-second ad on the front of, say, a half-hour video like one of mine, I'm getting like, I think it's tenths or hundredths of a cent per each of those ad impressions. Like it's literally nothing. You basically cannot make any kind of money on YouTube off of ads unless you unless you are humongous and getting millions of views. Like my channel has about 130,000 views over its lifetime, and I have only ever made about $50 from YouTube, so it's not much. But whereas the per minute rate for a YouTube Red subscriber would be a lot higher, so it would still be very beneficial. And I was like, you know what, that's really cool, because he said this could not only benefit smaller channels, but it benefits channels who make longer form content like I do, and well, like he does, frankly. You know, the one thing that everybody kept trying to tell me when I was complaining about my channel's slow growth at the beginning was, you got to make shorter videos, you got to make shorter videos, your content is too long, your retention rating is poor, which is why you're not getting high up in the search rankings. And I tried that for a while, but it just didn't work. And I went, you know what? The way I want to talk about these older games and stuff, I can't do that in 5-minute videos. And it's unfortunate that apparently the average YouTube user has the attention span of a meth-addicted hummingbird. But, you know, I'm not going to compromise the way I want to make content because people can't pay attention. And that is hurt my growth for sure. But I'm making stuff the way I want to make it, so I live with that. But this system looked like it was actually going to benefit people in situations like me and allow us to make a little bit more money, and it would encourage longer form content. I was like, that's friggin' fantastic. I really like that. Well, a couple days later, literally right after I finished editing the Geek Bravado Ramble, it was actually rendering when I saw this, Total Biscuit posted some new information that actually makes this a lot worse and makes it a lot more of the typical YouTube rich get richer system. So, YouTube Red is not going to be divvied up on a per user basis, but on a global pool basis. So what does that mean? So remember what I was saying there, that what he said was that when somebody subscribes to YouTube Red, it would take their pool of YouTube Red money and then divide that among all the stuff they watched and how much they watched it. Well, what is actually happening is YouTube is taking every YouTube Red subscriber, pooling all of their money together into one gigantic pool, and then divvying that up based on watch time. So instead of it being calculated and paid out to creators on a per user basis, it is going to be on a global basis. So instead of multiple pools of revenue to split out, it's going to be one giant ocean of it. That sucks. That turned YouTube Red from something potentially useful into something garbage for one simple reason. Because it's being done on a global basis, and this is what TB said, the popular creators who get more views are going to get a bigger share of the money. He specifically said it's still going to benefit people who make long-form content, but it is going to benefit bigger channels far more than smaller channels. Fan-fucking-tastic. Well done, YouTube. So basically, YouTube Red is, he said, smaller channels will probably still benefit more from YouTube Red than they would from pure ads on their own. But he said the benefit is not nearly as good as it would have been at one point in time. And this is once again weighted towards the bigger creators. As if the bigger creators who are already wealthy and still being wealthy needed any more incentive. Like, the big YouTubers already get preferential treatment from YouTube. They get preferential treatment in the search ranking, in the what to watch videos. They get all the brand deals. They get all the sponsored content, which, I mean, again, it makes sense. If you're bigger, that's the way it works because brands want exposure. But they get all that. Some of the biggest YouTubers are getting these new YouTube Red exclusive reality shows that are being funded by YouTube, and they're probably being paid by YouTube to do it. And even the creators like Total Biscuit who don't do that stuff have self-admitted that, yeah, this is better. This is better for people who make longer form content, and it's better for people who are already popular. So it's better for him. So yeah, YouTube has fucked the little guys again. And it's getting really, really frustrating. I mean, YouTube, the problem with YouTube is YouTube is a monopoly. There really is no other way around it. Like in the past, I've called services like Valve and Steam a de facto monopoly in their space. YouTube, for all intents and purposes, is a real monopoly, because while there are other video services out there, there are none that have a fraction of the mainstream exposure of YouTube. None of them have, the tools aren't there. The ability to do partnership stuff is not there. All the other sites that are out there, like the Daily Motions and the Vimeos and the everything like that, they are specialized. And that's how they build their business model. They're not designed to be around to be the general consumption, essentially big TV network of the internet. And that's what YouTube has become. YouTube understands that they have effectively a monopoly in their space. And I mean, I don't even think YouTube has ever turned a profit yet. I thought I read something a while ago that said that even with as successful as it's getting, they're still losing money, because it costs so much money to host videos on the scale that they do that it is literally impossible for a competitor to come up. There's only a couple of companies in the world who could possibly launch something like that, they being probably Apple and Microsoft. And with YouTube doing all the work already, why would they do that? That's never going to happen. It's just never going to happen. And there's some other specialized services too, like Vessel and things like that. But Vessel is, again, geared towards who's already popular, because Vessel is a service that's actually structured around making people pay to access it. And it's a neat service, but again, it's not for people like me. And yeah, this really sucks. I was really excited about YouTube Red, and I'm still a little bit more excited because it could still be slightly more beneficial to small channels like mine, but certainly not to the degree it was. And I am just getting so bloody tired of YouTube going out of its way to only cater to what's already popular. Like, it is such a short-sighted thing. The guys who are already popular don't need the help. They're growing just because they're growing. I mean, Total Biscuit's channel is continuing to grow exponentially, despite the fact that because of all of his health problems and various other things, he's not putting out a lot of content these days. He's able to grow because he's got that base that's just multiplying on its own, and that getting that base that eventually sort of gets its own self-sustaining growth curve is what every YouTuber aims for, and most never hit it. I probably will never hit it, which is fine. And the thing is, like, I'm complaining about this money-related stuff as if it's a big problem for me. It isn't really. Like, this channel is a hobby for me, and it's not, as I've said a million times, I don't want to make a career out of it, but you know, I have put a lot of money into this channel in terms of equipment and software and time and everything else, and I would like it to at least get to a point where it could get some of that back. Like, I think I'm about to get my second payout from my network, which means that in 2.5 years and 350 plus videos, I will have pulled about $100 out of YouTube. I have probably put $3,000 to $4,000 into this channel since I started it. And I'm happy to do that because I do it because I want my stuff to be as good as it can be. You know, there are lots of really successful channels who use shitty headsets and who don't do any editing or anything like that. And I didn't want to be that. I wanted to look a little bit more professional. So that's fine. But I monetize my videos because it would be nice to get a little bit something back from that. And I don't want to rely on crowdfunding because, number one, I wouldn't get much of it. And number two, I just don't like that idea necessarily. But YouTube is making it impossible for channels who aren't already huge to make, the guys who are trying to make a living, it's making it harder and harder for them to do that. And these new initiatives that are coming out are the principal benefits are going to the people who don't need them. And that's the wrong way to go about it. Content is cyclical. These big channels that are driving all the YouTube revenue right now, they're not going to be around forever. You know, their bubble is going to burst, or they're going to give up, or they're going to retire. Like, I know PewDiePie probably loves what he does, but he makes so much money right now. He could just flip the switch one day and say I'm done with YouTube and just walk away and with his money and be set for life easily. And he might one day. You know, he deals with a lot. I don't like his content, but he seems like a genuinely good guy, and he deals with a lot of crap. Because of his popularity, and he may just do kind of like what Notch did one day, just go, you know what, peace, I'm taking my money and going home. People have to be there to replace him. People have to take up the mantle of these big YouTubers who will one day just decide that they don't want to do this anymore. And YouTube is not fostering those people. They're giving priority to these big guys already, and who are big already, and that can't last forever. And it's just so short-sighted public company thinking. The way they're going about this, they could have structured. YouTube has both the engineering knowledge and the technical horsepower to do YouTube Red on a per user basis, which I think would have worked out really well, and they didn't, and they fucked everybody again, and it's ridiculous. If YouTube Red becomes available in Canada, I honestly don't know if I will sign up for it or not. I might just stick with ads because I don't know. The value add of YouTube Red from a user perspective is already pretty weak in my opinion. And I just don't know if I want to support an initiative like this. It's just, they're not doing what's in the benefit of everyone. They're benefiting, I don't want to say the 1%, because not only is that a tired phrase, monitors went to sleep, but the big group of YouTubers is bigger than 1%. I think it is. But they're benefiting the top, and the top doesn't need the help anymore. The smaller guys need the help, and I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about the other good channels out there that only have a few tens of thousands of subscribers. Those guys are getting burned by this too. And yeah, they have the ability to change it. YouTube Red hasn't even launched yet, so I hope they do. I mean, there are some big channels out there. What was it, something I read that said ESPN was actually pulling out of YouTube because they thought YouTube Red was going to screw them? Some of these big people speak up and go, hey, this isn't cool, and maybe they'll reform it. We'll have to see. But the funny thing is, this could, I mean, to a degree, you can kind of see why YouTube didn't want to talk about this very much, or was so bad at explaining it, because if they came right out and explained how it was going to work, they would have had an instant riot on their hands. Now they still have a riot on their hands, it's just slightly delayed, and a bunch of people are confused and not everyone's on the same page, which you kind of wonder. Like I said, a company as big as Google, they know. I think they were probably well aware of what they were doing, and that this confusion and obfuscation of the real issues was probably intentional, which is even scummier. That's like a Hollywood move. And yeah, they're beginning to see a lot of parallels between YouTube and Hollywood. So yeah, I just wanted to bitch about that. I don't know. We're going to have to see how this all shakes out. Every time YouTube makes a big change that they don't tell everyone about, there is always a huge upheaval and a riot initially, and to a certain degree, things normalize, and in a lot of cases, it ends up being not as bad as people thought. When they redid the comment system with Google+, people, myself included, thought it was ridiculous, and it actually ended up being not too bad. So, comparatively speaking, so we'll see what happens with YouTube Red. But as it has been explained right now, which is all third-party explanations because that's all we can bloody get, this sounds like a bad deal. And it sounds like YouTube's further rich get richer scenario. And I tell you what, if I was doing YouTube for a living, I would be pretty both scared and angry right now. As it stands right now, I'm just annoyed, because I don't do this for a living, and while I want my videos to get more traction and more notice, at least, you know, being able to keep this roof over my head isn't dependent on that. And I feel for the guys who are, because they took an already volatile environment and made it worse, and mostly to benefit other people than the ones being affected by it. And that's bullshit, and they should be better about that. So anyway, yeah, so that's my little rant on that. So I will hopefully be able to put this video up without things changing again, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. If you liked what you saw here, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It does help me out a great deal. If you want to use YouTube Red, hey, give it a try. Let me know how that is for you. I can't sign up for it right now, so if you are going to try it out, let me know how the experience is and what you think of it. I'd actually really like to know. So yeah, if you do sign up for it when it becomes available, drop a comment. Let me know what you think of it, because it will be very interesting to hear about that. So yeah, so there is more stuff coming soon. I got a new Halloween retro flashback plays that's going to be coming up this week that I'm looking forward to, and I am going to be starting my PXA plays of read-only memories pretty soon, I hope. The last week's been a little crazy with freelance work and stuff, so I got a delayed start on that, but it is coming soon. So, yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Take her easy.